Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you enjoyed this one. I want to talk about the 46th President of the United States, Mr. Joe Biden, the most popular president that there's ever been in the history of the United States, possibly the most popular politician there's ever been in the history of time. And despite the fact that he does look a little bit like a potato, he is nonetheless an incredibly significant political personality. And therefore, he's been let out of his closet over the last couple of days, and he's given a couple of press conferences. And I wanted to give you a couple of clips of those and talk about them. But before we get to that, I want you to just think for a second about these two men. Here we have Dr. Martin Luther King, a man who was born on the same day as I was. And his influence and impact on the world, a leader of the civil rights movement in the States back in the 60s, of course, and a man who has made a lasting positive impact, I believe anyway, on global society and on the approach between races, I guess. And as I say, a man who certainly tried to bring and contribute in a positive fashion. I want to contrast him with this guy. Yeah, you recognize this guy, don't you? George Floyd. George Floyd, who, of course, lost his life in Minneapolis last year. Quick reminder about George Floyd, just in case you've been listening to too much of the mainstream media. Floyd was under the influence of fentanyl and other drugs at the time of his arrest. He'd been to jail at least 5 times. And his court documents read like a career criminal. He was involved in drug abuse, theft, criminal trespassing, aggravated robbery, as well as entering a woman's home and pointing a gun at her stomach whilst looking for drugs and money. This is a record of George Floyd. Okay, clear now? Now let me play Joe Biden. Here he is.
Dr. King's assassination did not have the worldwide impact that George Floyd's death did.
What? So, well, first of all, let's ignore the fact. Let's bring this strange image of him back up again, by the way. And as you can see, he's got his mask hanging off one ear. What's that about? But he's suggesting that George Floyd's death had more of a global impact than that of Martin Luther King. How can this be? What has been the consequence of the death of George Floyd? Well, it's been mostly looting and arson and violence. American cities set on fire, Joe Biden. So the media is more powerful at this time than at the point when Martin Luther King was murdered. Yes, but to suggest that there's any equivalence between Martin Luther King and George Floyd is, quite honestly, it's really off the wall in terms of like insanity factor. But nonetheless, with Biden, this is where we are. So he believes that certainly George Floyd is a more influential figure than Martin Luther King. This might explain, by the way, why so many senior Democrats genuflect to the memory of this career criminal. Really strange. But Joe wasn't finished. Let's bring up this. I want you to let me know what you think about this one from the potato.
Could occur, but if the unvaccinated get vaccinated, they will protect themselves and other unvaccinated people around them. If they do not, states with low vaccination rates may see those rates go up, may see this progress reversed. Ultimately, those who are not vaccinated will end up paying the price. The vaccinated will continue to be protected against severe illnesses, but others may not be if you're not vaccinated. But given that the vaccination is convenient and free.
Got that? The unvaccinated are going to have to pay the price. Hey, Joe, just wanted to talk to you about this. This was last year. Biden reiterated his support on Roe versus Wade, the 1973 Supreme Court ruling that legalized abortion. As Biden said, it's a woman's right to do that, period. Well, hey, Joe Biden, if you believe in people having, my body, my choice. How come, Joe Biden, that doesn't apply to people who take exactly the same approach when it comes to the jab? I think that suggests you're a hypocrite, Joe Biden. And furthermore, just whilst we're at it, the suggestion that somehow the unvaccinated constitute a threat to the vaccinated, well, that's lunatic. You will recall that during that short clip, he used the word may 5 times. 5 times he said may. This may, that may, the other may. In other words, there's no causality being really located in this at all. It's just a sequence of non sequiturs designed to, if you like, demonize people who prefer to use their critical faculty regarding what they want to do with their bodies. But the other thing is, of course, Biden can bluster all he wants from the podium, and the sycophantic media and social media can echo that. But the nature of the United States is that many people will not be bullied. They will not be hectored. They will not be lectured by this aging potato. So Joe Biden can say whatever he wants. In his mind, he may think George Floyd is more significant than Martin Luther King. In his mind, he may think that people who choose not to take the jab constitute some sort of existential medical crisis to those who are already allegedly safe from the virus. But on the final analysis, I believe the American people will prevail, not Joe Biden. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think about these stories. Do you think George Floyd is more significant than Martin Luther King? Do you agree with Joe Biden? Do you think that the unvaccinated are going to be in a real pickle if they don't follow the instruction by Joe Biden? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and I look forward to speaking to you folks real soon.